Right. So, hello everyone. I am Emily Long. I am the author of the books Invisible Mothers and You Are Not Alone. And I'm also the mama of Grace and Lily, who are both gone too soon. And I am hopefully starting a little video series that will be an ongoing thing where I talk to other mothers who've lost children, fathers, grandparents, and pretty much anyone who's dealing with grief and loss, I think, down the road. Because one of the biggest things for me is that my goal in terms of my work is to offer people the space to have the opportunity to share their voice, to share their stories and share their experiences, and to be seen and heard in a way that a lot of us don't feel like we get in our society and in our world these days. So that is what these are about, and this is our first little adventure into that. And today I'm going to talk a little bit with Danielle Ridgway, who is the mama of Jensen, and we're going to just talk about kind of how she came across the books that I've written and a little bit of her story and Jensen's story, and talk about why she thinks it's important that we talk about these topics and why we talk about our babies and grief and this whole process of life after loss. And so I'm going to pass it over to Danielle.
Hi, everyone. I'm Danielle, Jensen's mom. Jensen was stillborn on April 5th of this year. Um, After he was born, I went home and the room was dark and I sat down and I just didn't know what was going on. My mom and dad came in and tried to talk to me and said, if you need to talk, we're right here. It's fine. But they didn't get it. They just kept saying, it's going to get better over time. You're going to feel better after a while. All those things, not in the mean way. They're just being parents to help. But I remember I didn't get on my phone or computer until the 8th, which was 3 days later when his obituary came out. And then I got the flood of messages. That was hard because I had to open up about losing him. But that's when I first got introduced to the community because I actually said, okay, since I'm on my phone, I'm going to get on there and look. And it was around the time where You're Not Alone was getting, I don't want to say publicized, but there was a bunch of,
Yeah, that's right
uh,
after it came out, I think.
yeah, it was like either right after it came out or like when it was just coming out, something. But I remember seeing it and I was like, you're not alone, you're not alone. And there was like, every time I scroll on Facebook, it just was right there. So it was the first book I ordered, lost
Yeah.
book I ordered after Jensen died. And it was exciting for me. I don't want to say exciting, but exciting to know I wasn't alone,
Right.
just like it says. Um, I remember I was checking on Amazon to see when it was coming because I had nothing to really look forward to in my days. So when it came, I ran to the post office and picked up my book. I have it right here. And I never really let it go. It's always in my possession. Um, the first night, I thought I was just going to jump in and read it. And I didn't even open it because I was like, oh gosh, it's right here. And it's like another hit. Like, oh my gosh, this is real. This isn't my nightmare. So when I did open it, I was trying to just read a letter a night.
Right.
And then I ended up reading the whole book through tears. The first time I couldn't even breathe when I was reading. I'm like, this is all so true. This is so true. And, like the love from everyone saying, there was like three big words that I popped out. It's okay, love, and you're not alone. And that really spoke to me like, oh my gosh, I feel okay. Not okay, but okay that I'm not in the dark room
Right.
after I lost Jensen, telling my parents telling me I'm going to get over this because I didn't know what else to think. There was people that understood what I was feeling. And like I said, I carry it around with me when I feel sad. I open it up. Um, I think my biggest thing that popped out was from you in the opening.
Oh,
It said, this is my favorite. I took the picture of it,
all
and
right.
where it said, you're not alone, you love and you are loved, and love never dies. And that really spoke to me because, Jensen's not here, but obviously there's this huge hole in my heart, and there, it's filled with love, and there's love all around me for Jensen, even though he's not here. It's still there. There's
Right.
something still. He's still, has a huge part of my life.
Aw.
So that really, I was like, oh my gosh, just because he's gone doesn't mean all this feeling is gone.
Right.
He existed. His life, it means so much to me.
Right.
So that really popped out to me. That
Nice.
I remember crying, and I read through that, and I was just like, that's so true. I was in my like high school bedroom because I stayed with my parents, and I was shuddering, like, yes, yes, yes. But yeah, that was the first thing that really spoke to me. And then I was going through again after we talked,
Right.
and I was the first time I read through. It's always with me, but wanted to read through all of it again to see what jumped out at me. And I couldn't read it because everything's been going on this past week in my life. But then another letter really jumped out at me too,
Okay.
and it was from Angela at A Bed for My
Right.
Heart.com. And I was trying to like read and say what's jumping out of me. And I wrote something last night talking about wanting to like tear my skin. Like I have to get out of my skin because it just hurts. And she wrote something in here and it just like jumped out at me. Your fingernails will become bloody with clawing their way through the depths of despair. And like I could just think about me.
Right.
I'm my death of despair, like coming out. So I've just been rereading this letter. Like I think I've reread it like 6 times today.
Oh, yay.
It's
Yeah,
when
really
you're in your
visceral.
darkest, yeah, when you're in your darkest moments, you don't want to be like, I'm just outcasted. But like reading through this book, there's people in different parts of their grief. And you can say, okay, well, I'm almost 6 months out. I'm not supposed to be skipping around if I ever do skip around. And no matter what, it's okay.
Right.
It's really helped me a lot.
Well, good. Yeah, and that I love hearing that because that was the intention I think that all of us had when we wrote that book, or
Yeah.
you wrote our piece of that book, was for it to really be that thing that you could pull out, and regardless of where you were, you can find someone
Yep.
who says something that was exactly what you needed to hear.
Yeah.
Because everybody's a little different and everybody has their own process and is in their own place with their grief, and to be able to say, have all of those different pieces all in one place to be able to say, oh, this is the paragraph I needed to hear today,
Yeah.
and that
And
sort of thing.
yeah, because there's different parts of it where I'll skim through and I'll be drawn to one letter more
Right.
or another letter more. And I like it too that I can, for different people who have lost children at different ages, I can show them something in this book that pops out and say, I really think you should read this letter. And I'll take a picture and send it to them.
Oh, nice.
And I actually I've gifted this book to another lost mom whose child died a month after Jensen was born. So that was kind of like my gift to her, saying, "Hey, I wrote actually my letter in her there to her. So just my story, and wanted to pass it along because of how much it's helped me."
Yeah. That's great. I love hearing stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
It's like I said, it's the first kind of book I jumped into after he died, and my first kind of tiptoe in the community where after I read this, I was like, these people have opened up and shared their story. I want to be able to help out too. Like it really set the ball rolling for my grief journey.
Yeah, that's great. And then, yeah, that's one of the reasons I think I put all the different websites for
Mm-hmm.
the women who contributed, is so that people could find more places and find the community that really works for them, or the several communities that work for them.
Right, because like early on, I'm like, where do I go?
Right.
Who do I turn to next? Like my parents have never been through this, my family's never been through this. Where do I go? And
Right.
I had the list of where to go, and I dove head first because I needed that support.
Great. That's so exciting for me to hear. I mean, sad and exciting.
Yeah, sad and exactly. This double-edged
Um,
sword. What is grief?
Welcome to life after loss. So
Yeah,
there's always a little bit
exactly.
of a double edge.
Exactly.
Um, so I know that you have sort of done a lot of your own writing since you lost Jensen.
Mm-hmm.
And so clearly you feel like it's important to share and to talk about these experiences. And so I'd like to hear a little bit more about like your view and your thoughts on why it's so important to talk about the babies that have died and the children that have died, and our process with that grief that doesn't usually get talked about very much in our
Right.
world.
Um, well, I think I speak for all these babies and Jensen and children of all ages because they can't speak for themselves anymore. And
Right.
some of them never got to breathe out on this earth. And we're their mothers. Sometimes I think about it as I'm other people's kids' mothers because I feel for them. Every time I see like a new mom come up, I feel that. And I'm like, I just want to love their babies too. And if I just remain silent, they have no voice. The babies have no voice. And that really upsets me because I feel like Jensen would have just been a chatty little Kathy. So, and I have to speak for him and I have to tell a story because if I don't say it, who else is going to?
That's true. That's really true.
Um, and then life after loss, I mean, it's hard.
Yeah.
And, you know, you, there is blogs about it, but everyone's experiences are so different and individualized that there needs to be more people talking about it, or everyone should talk about it because it's going to help someone else no matter what. No
Right.
matter what experience, it's going to help. Someone can draw it, or if I write something and people are there to support me, saying, "Oh, I went through the same thing. This is how I handled it." It just helps. It's like makes the community more tight knit.
Right.
I would say I feel like it's already a tight knit community, but for me, it's just sharing my story on my blog is just helps me heal. I hope it helps other people heal.
Right.
And I just want to try to make this loss the best I can be out of the worst of the situation. I want to be the best for Jensen. Everything for him.
Right. Right. I mean, I kind of think of it as making some, like, okay, this awful, painful thing happened, and it's never going to be fair,
Mm-mm.
and it's never going to be right, but maybe I can make something out of it
Mm-hmm.
that'll give to the world. Or I think of it as my kid's legacy. Like, I do all this,
Mm-hmm.
and that means that somehow they still exist in this world
Yeah.
in a way that, you know, and I think it's every mother or parent who's lost a child's fear that their kids will like be forgotten.
Yeah.
And so if we can share their voices, like you said, I love what you said about mothering everybody's
Mm-hmm.
babies. Like
Mm-hmm.
come together as a group, and we just love all of them. That's really
Yeah.
sweet.
Because when I think of heaven or wherever our babies are, I think of them all together. Obviously, like I'll think about Jensen but I think of them all together, playing together, just, watching down on us and rooting for us and wanting us to do the best we can. And maybe that's just saying their names over and over and over again and sharing their stories and sharing. Like I said, there's no really good that comes on losing a child,
Right.
but it's how we persevere and, waking up each day. And if I open my eyes and feel like I'm just going to stay in bed, that's okay. I open my eyes and I'm making it. I'm surviving the best I can, and that's all right. I mean, but I think people should know that it's okay just to stay in bed all day,
Right.
or you know,
You do what you
sometimes you
got to
just
do
gotta
to
do it.
survive.
Sometimes you just have to do whatever is best,
Right.
and I think people should know that whatever they do is okay.
Yeah, I always say there's no rules to how to do this.
No,
If there are, the rules change
there be
every moment to moment.
right, and there'd be like 100 different rule books because what helps me might not help you, or it might not help the same person over and over again. But
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's why that's another reason to talk about it. Like you were talking about supporting each other and creating that tight knit. I visualize that sort of as like a web that
yeah,
we put together. The more we talk about it, the more support is underneath all of us,
right.
like
I
holding
mean,
us up through this process.
because I know, and the Share Your Mother Heart group, when I'm in my lowest, I write and then I'll post my stuff there. And then I get all the support. I'm like, okay, I can brave enough to put it out in the world and it's there. And, there's not a community I know other than the lost community that's so supportive.
Right.
Like, are saying, even if it's not something they've been through, they're like, I'm here for you.
Right.
You need me, I'll be there. Like, when I ask for candles to be lit, I get pictures of candles lit.
Yeah.
And that just, touches my heart. I mean, I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's amazing that we have this ability to connect with each other all over nowadays.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be in person.
Yeah.
I mean, in person is fabulous and
Yeah.
wonderful, but there's so many ways that we can come together as a community and really reach out a hand to each other. And yeah, you've been very active in at least in my sort of little communities here and there. And it's been sort of a delight to have you in them,
Oh,
sharing your
I feel so
stuff.
bad thinking people must think I'm just this. I'm speaking like some of the words they're saying. This crazy person. There's something always going on in my life. I'm like, oh my gosh, here I am reaching out for support because, but life after loss, everything is connected to the loss, and it's secondary and third. I was going to say third dairy losses, but that's not a
Right.
word. But it all goes back to how my life has changed since losing Jensen and how I've handled situations afterwards. And
Right. Yeah. Well, and what I've noticed too is like when someone like you or someone shares a piece of what they're going through, then other people come up and say, "Oh, I've been dealing with something similar," or "I've been afraid to talk about this, and now I feel like I can." And so I think it gives people permission. The more we talk about it, the more it gives people permission to reach out in a way that they might not feel like they can.
right. And like for what I've seen is sometimes people can't put words on paper or onto a computer screen. And
Right.
like I've gotten emails that say I could share what you wrote to say, hey, friends and family, this is what I need, or this is how I'm feeling. And I think that's really awesome that, all of us can put our thoughts into words and people can take that and use it to help them
Yeah.
after.
Yeah, it's that communal sort of me
Yeah.
too. It's that I'm not alone. Somebody
Yeah.
else understands this. And that's
Right.
such a powerful piece of the healing process, I think. Just to
Yeah.
feel like, okay, I'm not alone. And there is
Exactly.
somebody else who gets this. Yeah.
Exactly. Like I said, yeah, that like the little part I read about her, the fingernails being bloody, like that was what I was like looking for. I kept going like this last night when I was writing, like I'm trying to scratch my way out, and I forgot about it, and then I read it, and I was like, yeah, that's exactly what it was. I mean, there's so many
Yeah.
things that connect, and we say it, and it's just helping others out. I mean,
Yeah.
it helps people just to know there's someone else in the world feeling the same exact way, even though how terrible that is. I know how terrible I feel. I'm like, I hope no one feels like this ever in their life.
Right.
But
Yeah. But good. Yeah. So, is there anything else that you want to share with people or things you want to say or you want to give us the website of your blog? That'd be great.
yeah, I blog at jensengray.com. It's all E's. It's his first and middle name, and I blog there every Tuesday, the day he was born, and whenever I'm feeling angry, so or sad or happy, all the
Yes.
huge range of emotions. That's what I get it out and put it on there because I think the world deserves to see everything, the
Right.
good, the bad, the ugly of grief.
Yes, that's definitely true. And I will say that you have a great way of expressing. You're a very good writer. I always enjoy
Feel
reading your posts.
that makes me feel better because sometimes I like look, I'm like, this looks horrible, but I don't care. Send. But
Right.
thank you. I was touching my heart. That touched my heart. So I appreciate it so much.
Good. So I will be posting this, and I'll post links to the books and to your website and all of that. Yay! And we will keep in touch and keep having these conversations. All right. Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you.